Hello, Stats Jedi here with an interesting topic for you. Have you ever heard of what is called Simpson's paradox? No, we're not talking about Bart and Lisa and that kind of thing. We're talking about a very interesting statistical phenomenon that occurs often. And of course, we're looking now at COVID data, which is a very hot topic, of course. And here is a page I've come across, COVID-19 data science, where Jeffrey Morris says this headline here: Simpson's paradox strikes again, refuting reports that vaxxed have 5 times the fatality rate than the unvaxxed do. And so I'm not going to get bogged down in complicated numbers here with you. I just want to show something very simple to you. And so here's the basic data that he has. Notice that the data, we're looking at all cases lumped together here. And this is specifics are given down below here. I don't want to dwell on that. These are Delta cases. So we have unvaccinated Delta cases, 151,000 roughly, and the fully vaccinated people, Delta cases were about 47,000. The Delta deaths were unvaccinated were 253 and fully vaccinated with 402. This gives us a fatality rate for the unvaccinated of 0.17%. That's going to be the 253 over the 151,000, gives you 0.2%. But for the fully vaccinated people, the 402 that died out of the 47,000 gives you a rate that is 5 times higher for those that are vaccinated. And somebody who wants to prove their own point, a lie with statistics, is going to grab this and start screaming at the top of their lungs. But they have not looked at the data properly. If you break this out by age, the confounding factor is age here. People under 50, people over 50. Look at the unvaccinated. There are a lot more unvaccinated people, a lot more people, period, that are below 50. And the fully vaccinated ones, among those, is about 25,000 out of 150,000, roughly, about 1/6 or so that are vaccinated. But look at the older folks. There's only 3,400 vaccinated, roughly, with 21,000 fully vaccinated. So there's a much higher vaccination rate for the older people. And look at the deaths. The bulk of all these 402 deaths were among the older ones. And likewise, the bulk of the 253 were among the older ones. So the fatality rate for the older group is almost 6% for the unvaccinated, but under 2% for the fully vaccinated. So here we see, yes, there's a 3.3 times decrease, 30% ratio between the unvaccinated and fully vaccinated older folks. So it looks like the vaccine is doing its job among the older folks. And among the younger ones, notice that it's not a 5-fold increase, but the fatality rate is very low. I mean, 0.03%. versus 0.05%. And so the vaccinated folks do have a 57% higher rate of death, but it is so incredibly low that it still can throw the numbers off when you combine them. So that's what the danger is. Mainly when you combine numbers, look at the big picture, it's misleading. And so there's more examples of this down below here. He has a hypothetical case he draws up, where suppose there were only 2 people died. Okay, suppose you only had 2 Delta deaths among the younger people. Look what would happen here. You would have, in the big picture, with everyone lumped together, a ratio of 5 times more deaths, 5 times higher death rate among the fully vaccinated than the unvaccinated. But once you break it out by age, both groups, whether you're under 50 or over 50, would show a decrease, marked decrease in death rate for those that are vaccinated. But when you lump them together, it's an increase. This is wild. Okay, so this is what happens sometimes with Simpson's paradox when you have extremely low data values for one group lumped together with another group with higher data values. It throws the complete picture off. And so just want to bring that to your attention here. We have more to show you a little bit later on about Simpson's paradox. Let's pause right here. So here we have another example from August that is some data from Israel that says severe disease versus the efficacy of the vaccine. When 60% of those hospitalized were vaccinated people, that sounds really weird. I mean, look at the basic figures here. Among the severe cases, you have many more that were fully vaccinated, which sounds really bad. But when we look at the details, we break out for all ages. Here we see, yes, there's a 67% efficacy against severe disease. Here's the ratios between fully vaccinated and unvaccinated. But then per 100,000 people, you can see 16.4 rate versus 5.3 rate for fully vaccinated. So this looks much better. There's a 3.1 times higher rate in the unvaccinated folks for getting severe cases. And so then we come down here and we break it out by age again. And we see that among the older folks, 90% are fully vaccinated, whereas the younger ones, only 73% are fully vaccinated. And so this is setting up some interesting things for us. Look at the severe case rate. And for the younger people, only 11 severe cases among the fully vaccinated, 43 among those that are not vaccinated per 100,000 people. So much higher rate among the unvaccinated. And look at the older folks, likewise, huge 91 per 100,000 people rate for those that are unvaccinated, whereas only about a 14 per 100,000 people. So marked difference here. But both of these cases seem to say the same thing, okay? Even though these percentages are way different from each other, we're getting a good result here of vaccination is reducing greatly the risk of severe disease. And so, again, down here, we see the same thing. A general picture of Simpson's paradox is right here, where you have data that seem to give you an upward trend when you look at them all together. If you break them out by two different groups, two different age groups, for instance, the trend, like with regression analysis, the trend here is a negative trend. And so the very opposite trend, when you break out the individual groups than you would have, you put the whole group together. And so that's just a visual model of what's going on with Simpson's paradox. So if you need any help with statistics, go to statsjedi.com, where you can get me your need information and see some testimonials, and I will be able to help you with statistics. See you next time.